Hi. Moving on to Donne's The Canonization. John Donne is the pioneer of metaphysical poetry. And for many centuries, people who love to read poetry have been enamored with the way in which John Donne uses language. As in the last video, we concluded, Donne simply starts abruptly. There is no further introduction, and he closes with such a proximity to the reader and the reader's emotions. Now, Donne's emotions, his life, his feelings were all involved or steeped in moral and spiritual conflicts. Having renounced his Catholic faith, he got ordained into the Church of England, and then later he became the Dean of St. Paul's Cathedral in 1621. In the 17th century, Donne wrote poems on love, which questioned the way in which love poetry was being written, especially with its elaborate use of conceits. He brought in different images, one after the other, which normally people don't use when you talk about love. In the Canonization, Donne is actually trying to a certain extent, to spiritualize a very physical relationship. As we all know, canonization is something which the Catholic churches do so as to keep the memory of a saint who sacrificed a lot in his or her life. It is something which is done to sustain the good memories of a person. Donne in this poem celebrates death by love. And the very term die in the 17th century, if you remember, is something which was also used with sexual connotations. And he lets himself and his beloved be canonized so that posterity would always remember them. The beauty of the poem starts from the very beginning itself, when Donne starts, "For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love." That line shows the fundamental metaphysical quality as already was stated in an abrupt beginning. It seems the poet is addressing somebody who found the very act of his love to be a bit irritating. So it might be to a rivalry that John Donne addresses the poem. He says, "You can chide my palsy, oh my God. You can chide my illnesses. You can say bad things about my physical appearances or my physical misfits. You can talk about my 5 grey hairs, my ruined fortune, how I have ruined myself. Go on, talk about it. And you can involve yourself in better things than talking against my love." For instance, he says, "Improve your wealth, your state, your position, your mind. Study arts and improve your mind. Observe the king, his grace, his stamped face on the coins. Contemplate and get yourself into doing something which is worthy enough to be doing it all, rather than finding fault with me and my love. Just let me love." This is what he says in the first stanza. The speaker largely, wants his rivalry to shut up. And for that, he kind of brings out all that is considered to be popular, all that is considered to be into the good realm, into the better realms of life. For instance, winning a position, getting yourself wealthy, training your mind in arts and literature, and maybe even in science. So here Donne ironically suggests to those people who do not have anything else to do other than talk about my love, why did you get yourself to do something and let me love? Why do you want to interfere in my relationship? And alas, who's injured by my love? That is what he asks. That is how the second stanza begins. Do I cause any kind of a malady just because I love somebody? Have any merchants' ships been drowned by my sighs? Just because I weep or sigh, or I kind of express my pangs of love? Have I caused great winds, so as to drown a merchant's ship? So in one way he's criticizing maybe the hyperboles which were used in many of the sonnets to talk about the anguish of a lover, which is so deep enough or so strong enough so as to create huge storms and winds and lead ultimately to the toppling down of ships in sea. Have I overflowed the ground with my tears? Have I caused floods with my tears? No, not in life, not in my poetry. When did my coals of forward spring freeze? Did I freeze any spring with my coals? And did the heat in my veins, add more to the plaguey bill? Has there been an increase in the number of people who have died of the plague just because I carry a heat in my vein, or just because I am warm-bloodedly loving my beloved? Soldiers find wars. Lawyers find out still litigious men. Though she and I do love, in spite of us loving each other, people find better things to do, Soldiers find more war to fight. Lawyers find legal cases in court. Why is it that you don't have any other job? A job other than to talk about, to comment, to criticize my love? The next two stanzas will be dealt in the next video. Thank you for watching.